You ready? It's an exciting day at the ranch. We have a long time, before Steves were Steves, a long time Steve here, a guy who, I don't know how or why we got connected out of the gate. Do you remember how we got connected out of the gate? It's just like on
We
the
were
internet.
both in New Orleans, and we both just like,
It was just like Twitter, like, yo.
yeah, we were just like both, college guys.
Yeah. I want to actually start with this. I cut you off because we were talking. We haven't seen each other. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Let's leave this for the podcast. I want to give you your roses while you're here, before
Okay.
you're married or dead, and I
Okay.
can't contact you any longer. As I reflected in the shower, it's a reflection period for me when I'm in the shower.
Okay.
Ask these guys, I'm in there 20 to 40 minutes,
Is
depending
that where
on
you map out the whole pod?
not even just day-to-day life. A lot of genuine thoughts in there.
How many showers you take a day?
Yesterday I took 3. I had a rough day. I had a rough day. Spent half.
You have seemed more reflective lately.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I'm very reflective, and it's interesting. I've gone into a phase of adulthood. We'll get into this too.
Yeah,
I wanted
We'll
I wanted to gauge your adulthood and where you are. We're just talking about dogs. We'll go there.
Yeah.
But I want to give you your roses to your face. As I reflected on Jimmy Tatro, 1, the entity, 2, the friend, 3, the Steve, like the guy who would come to shows early. We're going to rehash some of our show experiences as well. I reflected on it and I was like, wow. I just had a conversation with Mike Posner and I had a similar kind of epiphany, for lack of a better word. And I was like, man, Jimmy played a part in like inspiring how I got started. And I'll tell you why. Because I was kind of like an idiot in regards to like the internet and like what the fuck was going on the internet. Like I wasn't a tuber by any means. Like I wasn't like on YouTube, whatever.
I do say tuber. I'll give you that.
This guy he is the tube guy. He fucking made his mark on the tube. Anyways, wasn't aware of like what was going on there exactly. Like I didn't like guys like you that existed. And really what happened was I got injured. Somehow like was like, yeah, I want to rap. Well, as I was injured, and then became aware of this like music scene on the internet. It was like a YouTube music scene that like I didn't know. Like at that point where I was from, I'm just listening to like, at that point Drake was just coming out, like Lil Wayne. Had no idea there was this like YouTube huge platform and like channel to people.
Mm.
So I see guys like Mac Miller. I went to Duke with Mike Posner. I started to see that like this was actually an avenue and a thing that could be a real thing. And I remember coming across your shit very early. Like you were popping in my perspective, and you were popping anyway in general. But like I was just somehow around the same time I started to be like, hey, I'm gonna use, fuck it, I'm just gonna let shit fly on YouTube, and like see what happens,
Mm.
But I came across your shit, saw the success right away, and automatically was like, oh, that's like a regular dude. You know what I mean? Like you were like in your fucking dorm room, right?
Yeah.
When you
Early
started,
on, yeah.
literally in your dorm room or your frat house, wherever you were at that time. But I can say I remember vividly seeing a few and like watching maybe an hour of shit, and I was like, I don't do comedy or anything in that realm, but it just gave me a sense of like,
Right.
doable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is a regular dude. He's in college. It's not fancy. Like
I mean, I think that's how it starts that's kind of how it started for me too, is like I saw someone on YouTube and my friend was like, this dude's making $400,000 a year.
Mhm.
And I saw this guy's videos and I was like, these are trash.
Mhm.
Like I could do this.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
all it
just
took.
started doing it. Like it was just seeing someone else doing it and knowing it's like a thing you can do.
Right.
And similar to you, like this guy didn't make anything similar to me. He did music, and he was just doing like weird
Like free
parody kind
parody
of
type shit.
things and stuff like that. And I was just like, this is weird. And I feel like I could do something.
I hate this, but I love it.
Yeah. I was like, I like the business model of what you're doing, not what you're putting out, but I could do a version of this.
Right.
And that was like when I got started, is just because I saw that. So it's funny how that kind of breaks down.
Yeah, and I like thought about it. I actually had that thought today. I was like, wow, there's actually validity in that. 2, more of roses for you. You asked me like, hey, because we're moving. This is the last fucking non-resident to step foot in Stevenson Ranch, correct? Outside of movers.
Wow.
How fitting. How fitting. But played a part in the inspiration for my next move.
How's that?
Saw your fucking little expedition with your lady.
Oh, my camper van. Trip.
Actually commented and was Instagram like was DMing you like I'm fucking jealous. I was like sending you like drop me a pin. Where is this? You know me. I'm not a fucking LA guy. You know what I mean? Like I make music in my fucking house. If I'm partying, I invite girls here and we fucking play beer pong till failure. I'm not like, yo, let's go to Delilah, grab a few drinks, and then hop. You know what I mean? Like, it's never been something that like moved me. You know what I mean? So, at some point, there was never like a mark on the calendar, but there was like a back of my head knowing I'm leaving. I'm not gonna stay in LA forever. You know? And as things progressed, like it started to make a lot more logistical sense to like, you know, started some other businesses with some new money and new revenue and like staying here, getting hammered on taxes, one. Two, feeling like I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hang out with my buddies in my house. Like we don't need
You
to
could
be
do
here.
that anywhere.
I could do that anywhere.
And that's kind of what this whole pandemic has kind of solidified is just I don't know. I've been such a city boy my whole life. I've lived in LA my whole life except for college.
Where are you from?
I'm from here. I grew up in Venice. So I've been like, you know, in the city my whole life. Went to college in Arizona, which, you know, is not somewhere I'm going to live. But then like the whole pandemic is just, I've been avoiding cities at all costs right now. And like, I've really fell in love with, you know, just the great outdoors. You know, I'm like camper vanning around and just like, you realize how beautiful America is.
It's fucking nuts.
And it's insane. Like even the California coast alone, you're going up the California coast, you have everything. You have these beautiful forests that go into the water. You have like these long beaches. You see everything just on the California coast. And then you start like, you know, we did this whole road trip. There was probably like 3 hours of driving that wasn't absolutely beautiful. And it was like going through Washington at some point. And then we get to these like crazy fields with these yellow flowers. It just looked like a blanket of yellow. And it's like,
your fucking Instagram looked like a travel Tumblr.
I know. I was living on Pinterest for a little bit.
You were.
Someone in my fantasy leagues right now, their team name is Jimmy's Pinterest board.
Yeah, dude, I was like captivated by it. And dude, I've had that knowledge because of touring. Right. You know what I mean? Like I've got to see a lot of the country, like weird spots. Like Mike Stud, the you know, college born, that's where like it really was born in college towns and shit.
But were you like fully like capitalizing on the places you were? Not. Or were you just going like hotel, party, show, party?
That's exactly what we're doing.
Back to the bus, you know? Because like that, I went to some weird places on my stand-up tours, but I never really got to see them. Totally. I was also solo though, so like that was definitely a more dark experience, like than having your friends with.
Totally. It you're exactly right. Like I definitely like I can't wait to tour again because I'm like I've just evolved a lot as like a person. Like I didn't really even have like a thirst for like, wow, it's beautiful. Let's go check that out. You know, like I would just be like, oh, cool. Who's got the joint? You know what I mean? And like. You know, like it was literally just like surviving the day to get to the night, to party, perform.
Yeah, now you're gonna be like, you know, well, we gotta hit the Grand Tetons before we do this show.
I'm gonna have to.
So we gotta carve out. Maybe we do the show the next night because I want to see Yellowstone. I want to see the fucking geyser. I'm gonna need you
as a point of reference on that.
Oh, dude, so. I got Rex for days right now.
I know. So were you only on the West Coast?
No, I went up California coast, Oregon, Washington, Montana for a week. And then down through Yellowstone, Jackson Hole. Like Zion. I had done another road trip like a few weeks or like a month prior where I did like Zion, Lake Powell. like all that stuff.
And what was the inspiration for this? Like, it was because of the quarantine, just being like, I can't be in the house like in LA. Like,
Yeah, it was that. And initially it was like my girlfriend's friend was like, they rented these camper vans, and they were like, you guys should come to Lake Powell. So we're like, okay, cool.
mm-hmm,
That sounds fun.
mm-hmm.
And so we like that kind of opened our eyes to the camper vans. And I was like, I didn't even know this was like a thing. So we found these camper vans in like Arizona, this place, Boho. It's
Mhm.
great. Shout out Boho, love you guys.
Cut the check, Bo.
But that kind of like opened my eyes to this whole world. All of a sudden I'm following all these van accounts, you know, I'm like,
You're getting served ads.
yeah,
constantly.
I'm like deep in my whole explore page is just vans
Yeah.
and stuff, build outs. I'm talking
Sick.
build outs with people. And that was so much fun that like the second we're on our way back, we're like, we should do this.
We gotta do this
Yeah,
again.
we should do this again. And then it was just like month-long trip to Montana.
So how long did this trip range? It was what?
First one was like a week.
Mhm.
Second one was like 3 weeks.
So 3 weeks, you and your girl in a van traveling.
Yeah.
Wow. That's how you figure shit out, though. You know what I mean? That's how
Yeah.
you figure shit out. Like,
Yeah.
and honestly, I've been to my ex. There was points in time where that made a lot of sense. We did shit like that. It was fucking amazing. Like, that's how you really get to know motherfuckers. When you see them, like, not just when they get to point B, like from point A to point B. You know what I mean? Like all those mundane middle parts of the day where you're
Right.
like just fucking. So what is it? 2 beds or just 1 bed in the back? Like what?
So there's this Sprinter van, and I almost feel bad talking about it because I feel like I'm like blowing up the whole camper van people's spot.
In a
feel
good
like-
way or a bad way?
I feel like in a bad way for them, where they're like, this was our little community, and now it's all fucking mainstream.
Oh, I think they want the biz.
Yeah, I mean these like that
Probably.
company that did the van that I shouted out, they're thriving right
Yeah.
now. They're fucking killing it.
Oh, they want
people
more.
are building out vans than ever before right now.
Yeah, it looks sick. Like it looks sick. I'm gonna do it.
Some of them are so cool.
Yeah.
Like some of them, you know, I can show you some of my stuff that I follow. Some of my
Yeah.
my van pages.
I'm gonna need access, man.
Yeah, but there's some like super cool stuff. People doing these like customizations. They got like these wooden interiors and
Yeah,
just vibed out like tile kitchens. You know,
Amazing.
like a little mini kitchen with tiles.
it's sick. To finish the point, I was watching that, like, you know, had these crazy. I was just like, man, I want to get this. Feels like the right time to like start thinking about leaving. You know, like it was a time of reflection.
Mhm.
And saw what you were doing, was loving it, and we're going to move to Nashville. This is like, it's a lot of our stuff's headed in that direction, even musically, and like songs I'm writing, and also just like some of the businesses we're doing. It makes a lot of sense there.
Oh, like I thought you were saying like you shipped a lot of your stuff to Nash. Like a lot of our stuff is headed in that direction.
No.
Like I think we're going there. Like a
Yeah,
lot
no.
of my couch is going to Nashville.
My couch will
bed's
be-
going to Nashville.
Actually, weirdly enough, it will be there.
Actually, my speakers are going to Colorado, so we're trying to figure out. And then, fuck, you sent all that other stuff to Utah, so we're kind of
there's
we're
a
all
little
over.
there's a little validity in that though, because we're headed to Nashville. Like that's where we're gonna land, but we're having trouble finding like the right house. Might have to build, which will take a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, dude, I kind of want to do a road trip, man. Like I kind of want to, and our road trip is, you know, it's an extreme road trip in the sense like when I say road trip, we're gonna like live in different places every 2 months. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
like that's how I feel like I could actually really get the experiences. Like, cause if I go for like 4 or 5 days, we usually end up partying, calling a few girls. Time goes by, we don't really get to see a ton of shit, do a ton of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So we're headed, we're gonna do like 4 or 5 places before we land in Nashville on the shit. Some
That'd
of
be
our
fun.
stuff will be in Nashville. It is headed to Nashville to wait for us.
Right.
And then we're gonna kind of travel it and rough it around. Like I got 4 guys with me, you know, but leaning into like, we're doing a bunch of like content shit. I'm staying independent up until we know when touring is again,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of a pivot given what we've been going through. But you inspired, as I thought today, it made it obvious and clear to me that I needed to go hit the road. So I wanted to give you your roses, sir,
Wow.
at the beginning of this.
I'm happy to be a part of that, man.
It's been a fucking journey. We're gonna talk about. I mean, we should probably talk about it out of the gate. you're from California, went to Arizona.
Hmm.
I know you've given the story about your YouTube beginning and how it's just been really dope as guys, as we've gotten older and I get to watch, and I obviously pay attention to guys, whoever followed us, and I love watching and seeing progression. I remember talking to you in New Orleans, even back then. What year was that? 2014?
Like 2013.
2013, yeah. I remember you talking about it
Damn, that
then.
was 7 years ago.
How crazy. Like, we've known each other for like 7-8 years.
Wow.
It's fucking nuts. Remember thinking back then and you talking about it and just being like, yeah, you were already shooting. You were in New Orleans shooting
I
a
was
fucking
shooting
movie.
22 Jump Street.
22 Jump Street, which is
Yeah.
a fucking, huge thing to be a part of at that time.
Yeah, that was.
You were already aware. You were already
That was like the peak of my college guyness.
college guyness. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get into it. Me too. Actually, can't say that's been the peak. I transcended.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm slowly going over the other side of the
Onto
mountaintop.
the adult side.
Onto the adult side. Yeah,
That's
I think
good.
so. I think so.
Yeah.
It's debatable if you broke down the stats of how I use my time, but it's either here nor there. But dude, you were talking. You were already like, yeah, you were so conscious and aware of like, yeah, YouTube was where I began, and it's time. You're parlaying it into something more,
Hmm.
and just to watch you do it and have the success you've had has been fucking dope.
Right.
It's been really fucking dope to watch.
Yeah.
Now I know there's a lot of shit going on. This new shit, the Real Bros shit, is like a YouTube. It's ironic because it's like lives on YouTube TV, correct? Is that how?
It started on YouTube.
Started on YouTube.
Started as a series we just did.
And you just did it independently, more or less, or was
Yeah.
it
So we really wanted to, like, Christian and I were really into the idea of parodying like a reality show.
yeah,
At the time, it was like I was just so blown away by all the reality shows and like all the different cities that the Real Housewives shows
Mhm.
took place in.
And
And
all
once we
booming.
saw like Real Housewives of like Potomac or whatever it was like what are you guys even doing? And we were like, we have to spoof this. And I had done this video like how to make a reality show where we basically wrote a video that was, nothing happened.
Mhm.
It was just I show up at someone's house. I like drop off their bat that they left, and then I leave. And
Nothing
everything's
ever
fine.
happened.
Nothing happens. And then I say, this is the reality show version. And I take that exact footage and I recut it and added dramatic music and I blurred out a peace sign to make it look like I was flipping them off and like did all these little things. And it was just like, that is reality TV. It's
Yeah.
taking this library of content that you've filmed over
Yeah.
the course of 2 months
Mhm.
and making it into something it's not.
Yeah,
You're using reaction shots from different points of time. Like you can literally string anything together.
exactly.
So that was the concept of season 1. Was like nothing happens, and we're just gonna we're out of cups. Zoom, boom, boom, like dramatic music. We're out of cups. Holy shit!
And this is you doing it, kind of you and your guys.
So
Kind of
this
just
is
on
like
YouTube.
me and Christian wrote it. I just financed the whole thing.
Yeah.
We shot the whole thing in 2 days. I directed it with my boy Michael Gallagher,
Mm-hmm.
who I was working a lot with. He had a production company. So like all the videos that I didn't really know how to produce, I would bring him on
Mm-hmm.
and his production company would like make it look legit and everything.
Right.
So we did 4 episodes. It was supposed to be 3. I think, one of them got divided into 2
Mm-hmm.
and, it cost me like a little over $20K. I knew I wasn't going to make that money back,
Right.
but it was just that was like the balance. It was like, I'll pay a lot of money for some of these videos I want to make, and then we'll make some cheaper ones
Right.
so that it can continue to be a profitable business.
Right.
So the 4 episodes came out on YouTube, and then that was kind of that. And it wasn't like I was not thinking about doing a season 2. It was just not
You
what I
weren't
was
sure.
thinking about at the time.
Right.
I was working on pitching other shows. My network came to me and was like, hey, we think we can sell this to Facebook. Like type up like a little outline. So we typed up a little outline, gave it to them based on season 1 and the outline. Facebook bought it. They took it from, it was going to be like a smaller thing. And then they said they wanted to make a bigger thing.
Isn't it a crazy time to be a creative? Like
It's the content gold rush right now.
it really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's what I
And
call
you're
it.
at the fucking forefront of it, really, genuinely, because
Mhm.
you've done it. And why I asked, like, shout out Christian, because I know he's been your guy.
Mhm.
We have a lot of synergies in this. Like, I've been doing it independently the whole time. We've been able to scale. Like, I have the same guys we've always. I remember going to your house. When was that? We had a party on what?
July. Was that 4th of July?
4th of July. I got fucked up.
That was like the last time I saw you.
Last time I
think.
saw you, which is kind
You
of
brought
sad.
over your chug bud, and my roommate loves that thing. Dude.
I gotta get you. I'll get you some new ones.
He like for like weeks after he'd be like, "Yo, check this out."
And that part on a parting
over.
gift, I'm gonna give you some chug buds to bring
Right.
back to the boys.
I got a T-shirt for you. I got some
Amazing.
Simi high merch for
Sick.
you.
So now what? Your season? You're in what?
The finale of season 3
Season 3
comes out Friday, September 25th.
And it's a really like, dude.
And so basically, season 2, was supposed to be 10 to 12 minutes.
Mhm.
It ended up being closer to like 15 to 20.
Which is close to what a TV.
Right. And then season 3, we're like, let's just do it, full length episodes. Everyone's main complaint of season 2 was episodes are too
Too
short.
short.
So that's a great complaint. Let's
Great
do them
problem.
longer. So, we made it like, 50, like it was, first season was like 150 minutes.
Mhm.
This season's like 220, 230 or
Wow.
something. So they gave us 1 extra day of shooting. So that was cool. And yeah, and it's it was supposed to be 10 episodes. One of the episodes came out to 40 minutes. I divided it into 2. It was a perfect break point.
So you're So you're producing, directing, kind of. You obviously.
I've directed every episode.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's
bro.
fun. I like to, I'm so hands-on with this. I almost wish I was less hands-on, but
No, I remember when I went to your house, we were fucked up. Went to your house, like, you look at the whiteboard. You had a whole fucking whiteboard of ideas, and you could tell that you guys were meticulously. I think since the YouTube days, that's been your MO. Is just like organize it. You're a writer 1st, and then kind of you've grown and learned how to. It's wild to see. It's really great. Like what I'm getting at is, have you reflected on how? Reflection again. Have you reflected on how? Yeah, on how. Like, dude, it's really hard to garner attention at the scale that you're doing it at. Not only like across projects, across almost a decade of time now, where when you put your heart and your effort into something, and your passion, obviously, what you're good at, and then it's received just over and over and over again, very well. Not to like, I'm sure you feel, like there's so much more to do. Obviously, you're very young, and especially in the realm that you're in.
I mean, the way I look at it is kind of like, you're climbing a mountain and you don't really know where the top of the mountain's at. And you're aware you're making progress, but when your head's down and you just keep moving your feet, you're not really seeing how much progress you're making. You're just thinking, I got to keep going. Every now and then, when you get discouraged, it's nice to take a look back, look at the view, see how far you've come. Easy to get caught up in the view and get content with where you're at. When you see how beautiful it is and how far you've come, you can enjoy those moments from time to time, but then you got to put your head back down and keep going if you want to eventually get to where you need to go.
You're talking to the keep going guy, right?
I do. I know your thing is keep going. And as I was saying that, I was like, oh yeah, his thing is keep going.
That's what I'm getting at. Your story, and as I watch it, just as an outsider, just being a buddy and watching it, it's what it looks like, man. It's what it looks like. It looks like I want to make sure you're taking a second to take in the view, which as I watched your Instagram and saw, like it felt like that's what you were doing, guys.
It was a rare moment where I was like, okay, maybe I've been looking at the view a little too much.
Yeah.
But it's also at the same point, this is the perfect time to do that if you are fortunate enough to be able to do that without like stressing. I'm very fortunate to still be making money and stuff like that.
Of course.
During all this craziness.
Of course.
So like being in that position now is a good time for, an actor or someone that, does something like I do to take those moments where you don't usually have that time. Usually you have to rush and
absolutely.
You get a certain amount of time in, and now I'm like booking one-way tickets and spending, time places. And
it's time for that.
Yeah.
As a creative, though, like I get it because I kind of do it. Like I don't even have a manager, right? Like I kind of the business side is like how I spend my daylight usually, and then I become an artist at night, start smoking a bunch of weed and make music. But like, there's two different sides of your brain being used, and you're obviously the guy that goes on screen. but you're also before that the creative. Where are the ideas coming from? You know what I mean? And
I mean, yeah, right now, I'm not gonna lie, it's been an uninspiring time.
okay,
Like you would think that now is like the time,
that
and
makes a lot
I
of
thought
sense.
too. I'm like, oh, like pandemic hits, I have so much time now. I can finally finish that movie I've been writing for like
Hmm.
years and years, and I haven't like done. But I've just been so uninspired,
Yeah,
and like I've kind of had to force myself. I've been making moves on it lately, but it just like,
right.
but what's funny is I've been making moves on it lately. Now that I have like an end date and I have something that I have to
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
I'm like, wait, fuck, I need to get it done before then.
Probably how you're wired.
It's how I'm wired. Like I need,
I mean, you come from a YouTube culture. What were you doing? Weekly videos, weren't you?
yeah,
So there was no fuck. You couldn't fucking miss.
couldn't miss. But that was also weirdly enough like a self imposed
Yeah,
structure.
for sure.
It wasn't like anyone was on my back. Like you need to get this video out by Monday. No one really gave a shit except for me. Right? You know, like I'm the one that's like, we need the video out, and then it's like, if I put it, like I was so adamant about getting that video out before 12 a.m. Like, if worst comes to worst, like, it needs to fucking come out on Monday,
Yeah,
or else people are gonna be pissed.
yeah,
And they would be pissed, but in hindsight, it's like,
yeah,
some of them come out Tuesday.
yeah.
What's the big fucking deal?
They'll see it Tuesday.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think part of that, you know, sticking to the whatever, the structure of
Right.
it is what made it what it is.
Of course, maybe you wouldn't. You might not be. You know, if you didn't put yourself in a regimented thing like that, then maybe it wouldn't be what it is now.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I mean?
that's the whole thing with YouTube. It's consistency. It's putting out like
Totally.
letting everyone know you can expect this from me every Monday.
Same in podcasts.
Yeah,
You know, same
it's
thing.
same with everything. Like episodes, like that's just how people
Absolutely.
want to receive things, which
Now-
is why I like weekly releases of episodes. That's what we do on Real Bros. That's what I really wanted to do,
Right.
mainly because we have all these Instagram accounts and like we have this whole character universe that we run as
Yeah,
if it's
I saw.
actually happening
Smart.
in real time. So that was one of the reasons, but also like shit doesn't last anymore. Like something comes out, everyone binges it in a day and then it's done.
On to the next.
And then like a week later you bring it up and someone's like, "Oh, that's old." I'm like, "Dude, it's
wild.
a week ago. Come on, man. Like show some respect to the people that spent years
Took a year
doing
to make.
it.
Yeah.
Like don't call shit old a week later."
Right.
Like I hate it when someone puts a song out like I hear a Drake song, I'll be like, "Yo, this song's sick. Have you heard it?" My friend will be like, "Dude, that came out like 5 days ago."
It's
I'm like,
fucking wild.
So fucking what?
It's
5
fucking
days
wild.
ago is recent.
It's
Like,
fucking wild. And you know what? It's coming from a place of like when you say privilege, like the consumer's privilege given like where the structure of content release is gone. Like it's so oversaturated. There's so much shit. And it's all like if you told record label executives 20 years ago, yeah, no, everyone's just gonna pay $9.99 a fucking month and all the songs are gonna be fucking accessible and free. They'd be like, what do you mean?
yeah.
How does that even work? Like it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But the people who live in this generation and don't create, they're just consumers. They're not really thinking about like what it takes to make a song or like what
Yeah,
goes
they've
into
just
what
gotten
it goes
used
into a
to-
show. Like
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, it's like a fucking magazine. You pick up, you put it down, and you fucking move on with your life. You
Right.
know? So it's like obviously it's a beautiful time to be a creator. There's pros and cons to it. You know, that's definitely one of the cons though. Like
Yeah.
I feel it all the time. I work on like I've been working on like this next wave of music for years, 2 years now.
Yeah.
And I know very well after 3 weeks, I'll start getting DMs. Yo, when are you gonna drop something new? Like, what? I
Yeah.
just put out a fucking song 3 weeks ago, my guy.
What I think is cool about music though, in your defense,
Yeah.
is that songs just out of nowhere get stuck in your head, you know?
Yeah.
And like music is something that can really last
For sure.
if you give people something to associate it with,
Totally.
whether it's good times or whether it's
Absolutely.
visuals or smells or whatever it is. Like so many things can remind you of a song, and then you're like, I gotta listen to that song right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is what's cool about music. I don't think it's really the case with like, shows or movies as much.
It's a valid point. There's
I think there is like, you could do both. Like there's songs that I've heard, I've been like, oh, I want to watch that movie again because that's songs in that movie.
For sure. No, it's a valid point though. There's a certain like it will put you right back in a city if you were living at a certain city and that was
Right.
your jam. You'll be like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
definitely, that's valid.
Even with smells, man. Sometimes you ever just smell something and you're like
Yep.
a super specific memory hits
Yeah.
you, and you're like, Utah 2007. You know, you're like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what it was. You're like, maybe it was my like snowboard goggles smelled like this, and weird shit just sticks in your head like that.
Facts.
We'll be right back with You Never Know, You Know What I Mean, right after this urination break. Let's cut the shit. Here on the YNK podcast, we like to promote products that help benefit your life in a positive way. Now, since Pornhub hasn't come knocking yet, we got the next best thing. Our friends at Liquid IV are changing the game. John Kilmer here with a fantastic new product. Now, here at the Stevenson Ranch, our asses love to get pounded. Your ass might get drunk, but our asses get pounded. And after a night of ass pounding, we just get really dehydrated the next day. All that booze the next day just dehydrates your whole system. You wake up, you're peeing bright orange, you're not feeling your best self. Now here at Liquid IV, they are changing the game. They have these little, you can hear it, these little packets of powder here. You throw them into one bottle of water. They're called the hydration multipliers. What that means is you throw one of these bad Larrys right into a bottle of water. It is the equivalent hydration of 2 to 3 bottles of water. Now, when you're hungover as balls the next day, I can't stress how important this is. Now, our friends are running a very good offer today. If you use promo code YNK when you check out, you're going to get 25% off your entire order. So go to liquidiv.com, use promo code YNK, get 25% off your entire order. Tell them Steve sent you.
What was it like at Arizona? I mean, Arizona's a real fucking party school, obviously.
Yeah.
What was it like being? I mean, dude, you were the tube guy. You were huge on the tube.
I was.
You were. If I think back to that time, what year was that when you really like started going hammer on there? Like
it was like 2011.
Don't get injured over there.
Yeah, this only extends to here.
These chairs
so
are on their
try
last.
to lean there.
They're on their last leg.
You're not gonna be able to lean. No, that was it was 2011 to like 2013. I dropped out. I actually just posted this photo when I dropped out. It was like September 23rd. No, that was way too recent. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I dropped out like 2013.
As what, junior?
Junior year. I was kind of like, once the videos started going well freshman year, I was just so back and forth between school. I was like, I found something
Right.
that I love, that I'm making money off of.
Right.
I'm still in school. Everyone's kind of saying, don't drop out of school. Like, you have that safety net. Like, you don't need to drop out of school to be a YouTuber. This is 2011. Like, people aren't influencers yet.
Yeah.
There's
Even still, people will say that they're wrong, but like back then, more so than ever, like that
Right.
safety net is essential.
This is before the word influencers was a thing.
Yeah.
I saw an interview from 2013 where I say, I prefer the word influencer. And I'm like, no, Jim.
You might be.
But this was like, someone said something like, you're a YouTuber or a content creator. And at the time, I didn't like the association, and no one was saying influencer.
I remember.
And I was like, I like influencer more. And now, like, I hear the connotation of influencer. I'm like, take this down. But
yeah, I remember you like always being aware. It's kind of how I felt about Mike Stead once I got going a little bit, like being aware of like, I'm more than a YouTuber. I don't like that association.
yeah.
You know?
It was just everyone, like, you know, I mean, this is the case with everything. Like, everyone wants to put you in a box throughout your whole career. Like, you start doing one thing, you're in that box, and then you're trying to get out of that box, and then you're in a bigger box, but it's still a box. It's like, you're always just, everyone wants to box you in, and everyone wants to believe that that's your thing.
Yeah.
So in college, it was just a constant battle to not be the frat guy. You know, I made some videos making fun of frat guys and, you know, poking fun at like guys I knew that were just ridiculous characters.
The ironic part is I knew you right when I met you. I was like, oh, like you're not like, that's the character you play. Like, yes, you were in a frat. You were in a
probably
college.
so disappointed.
No, I wasn't.
Everyone was like, oh.
I actually liked it. I actually appreciated it
Some
more.
people were like, I told one of my best friends brings this up all the time. Like I said something to him one day, and he was like, yeah, it really stuck with me, where you were like, you have yet to realize that I'm not the guy from those videos. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's like, it's just a character. The problem was, though, in everyone's defense that did think I was that guy, I was calling myself Jimmy. I used my fucking name. I'm like watching these videos like, dude, just call yourself Todd.
Yeah.
You know,
Steve.
just call yourself, Devlin, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Something else that
Yeah.
isn't your real name.
Yeah.
Because then people come up to you, they're like, I'm like, I'm not, that's not really me. And they're like, oh, are you not? Your name's not Jimmy?
Dude, chug a beer.
I'm like, no, it is.
Yo.
It is Jimmy. Oh, you're not. So you're not like actually a frat then? Well, no, I'm in a frat and my name is Jimmy, but I'm playing a character. Your argument's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so, I mean, the whole like college experience was like, I probably enjoyed the attention for like, I don't know, an hour. And it happened on spring break where like my first video blew up. I started getting recognized and then I got annoyed real fast. And I was like, fuck this, dude. This isn't what I want.
So you got annoyed right away.
I got annoyed right away. I was just like, it was just an inconvenience to my friends. Like my friends were all of a sudden being put in this position where people would come up to me, completely ignore them, hand them a camera. Like as if that's their job. Just be like, oh my God, let me get a photo. I'd be like, okay, sure. And then they just wouldn't even look at my friends, hand them a camera. And I'd be like, yo, like that's not his job. Like have
my
your
lifelong friend.
Yeah, like don't just hand him a phone like as if that's my fucking best friend right there.
Spot on, man.
So then like when you're playing a character like that, I'm known on the internet for being like, this like frat character.
Right.
Like the characters that are coming up to me are treating me like that guy.
Absolutely.
And those are the guys I'm making fun of. So it was, like kind of like an
oxymoron,
a weird situation. By the end of college, I was so paranoid on campus. I had bought this douchey, loud Dodge Challenger that I'm like embarrassed to be ripping around in. It's like loud. I'm like trying to like drive like quietly. I like feel the eyes. Everyone knew my car. I'm like, people are just, I'm like walking around campus with like a hat super low and people were asking me like, I thought you dropped out years ago. Everyone thought I was like a 6th-year senior. I'm like, dude, I'm 20 years old.
Yeah.
So I just like by the end of college, I felt like I just needed to get out of there. I just felt like I just felt so out of place.
I think most people would be shocked to hear that. Like even me, I'm shocked, but I'm also, as I think about you and I know you, it aligns. But like, like at that age to not relish in like the ego of like what I'm doing, people love.
Yeah. Well, I think it was so crucial. The people that I surrounded myself with were like my homies before that.
Yeah.
So they didn't give a fuck about that. And they honestly kind of didn't like that because it
helps a lot.
There was, there's perks to it, but it was like annoying for them. Like they couldn't really hang out with me at these parties. I'd be getting like, people would be asking for photos the whole time and they'd be like, dude, this sucks. Like we just want to like do what we were doing before. So that kind of like kept my head on my shoulders, right? Because it was just, I didn't like get caught up in it. It wasn't like I was with these guys that were enabling me to turn into like this, which I feel like you see with so many of these influencers now where it's like they surround themselves with all these like fellow clout chasers who are trying to piggyback off what they were doing and like, make things like all my friends were just like, we're college students. Like we're not trying to like be famous off Jimmy. We just want our buddy to be like happy.
Right.
So that was crucial.
Yeah.
You know that.
Absolutely,
man. It's just crucial to surround yourself with good people, especially during a time like that. So I will always have a lot of love for those my college friends that were around me during that time.
Was Christian with you then?
Yeah. Christian we were in the same fraternity.
Okay.
We were like, we've always been boys, but we were never like,
super tight then?
Super like best friends. Like, we were kind of in different like friend groups.
Yeah. I get it. But
we were cool. Like we were always friends.
And he was helping you with the stuff in some regards, right?
Yeah, that was like
would show up in them and
we mainly hung out doing videos and stuff.
And still doing stuff together now.
Or
in some aspects.
In some, yeah. Real bros.
Yeah.
We're still doing together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I haven't really done much YouTube stuff.
Yeah. I get
lately.
it. I get it. Why would you?
Yeah, I still want to. I'm just doing other shit. And it's also like now I'm kind of at this point where I'm like, I have all these ideas and I'm like, I almost feel like I'm wasting them on YouTube because they're all bigger ideas. Like they're more like show ideas and like, I want to put this in an episode. I don't want to make this into a sketch.
Right.
Because I feel like so many of my sketches, like, I don't know, like, it's like take the sleepovers series for example.
Fire.
We did these 7th grade sleepovers for like 5 years.
Mhm.
Everyone loved them. It's just a YouTube series.
Mhm.
We wanted to turn it into a show, make it a legit thing. Someone beat us to it. All of a sudden, there's another show about 7th graders playing their 7th grade selves in the year 2000. Ours was in 2004. So it's almost like, I just feel like, same with tweets.
I
It's
get
like,
what you're getting at.
it's like you're putting shit up for free that could just, people can swipe and use it for their bigger things. And I want to use it for the bigger things, not them.
Mm-hmm. Smart. I think you're fucking right. I've had that thought about tweets too. Like a lot of times I will to tweet certain lyrics, and I've actually had that same experience on a smaller scale, but I've definitely had that same feeling. It's smart. I think
it feels more like fair game. Like you see a meme, you see a tweet.
it's out. It's out there.
That's there. That's like that's owned by the public, and then you can like take it and
Public domain.
put it into
absolutely.
their thing.
Yeah, it's a valid point. Are you feeling like you don't have enough time in your days?
Right now,
Just in general, not now. I mean, yeah, now you probably do.
Now I have so much time.
Mm.
I'm actually about to go back to work in like a week.
When you say go back to work, just being on set, you mean?
Yeah, I'm doing an ABC pilot.
Cool.
So it's like, I'll be shooting something.
Yeah, but work is like just at home going through ideas and formulating.
Before
like you
the
spend a lot
pandemic-
of time at those early phases, though, like creating an idea and formulating what it looks like. Right?
Yeah. I mean, before the pandemic, I was stressed as fuck. Like we were finishing writing the middle school series for Quibi.
Mm-hmm.
While I was finishing the edit for Real Bros. So I'm like editing from 9 to 6, and then rushing home, and we're writing from 6 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And that was I was so stressed.
So you're an early riser.
No.
Yeah.
I will when I have to.
Yeah.
But if I don't have to, I'll wake up at 9:30, 10.
Yeah.
Which I've heard is late.
Yeah, in my world, it's fairly early.
Thank you.
It's all perspective.
Thank you. I've been hanging out around a lot of people
all the
that
wrong
think
guys.
that's pretty late.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, I think that's a good time.
Pretty good. I feel like that's right in the middle, right where you need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like all the shit you're saying makes a lot of. It's crazy how many of the things you say. There's a lot of alignments. I gotta talk before we go any further. We gotta touch on Bourbon Street, don't we, guys?
No. How about this? We can touch on Bourbon Street, and then we put this story to rest.
Let's put it to rest. Have we spoke about it before?
I just feel like, everyone's always giving me shit about this night on Bourbon Street.
Dude.
Every time I run with you guys, it's like, man, remember when you fell asleep at the strip club? And I'm like, give me a break, dude. No, I've never drank on stage before.
Dude.
It's more pressure.
It is. And it goes down it feels like it's water. It literally tastes and feels like water when you drink it on stage.
This was my first time going to one of your shows. All of a sudden I'm on stage. Everyone's cheering for me to drink.
Chug, chug, chug.
I'm 21.
Yeah.
I chugged.
There we go.
Wow.
Oh, we actually, look at this.
These things are great, by the way.
Look at that vinyl.
No way. Wow.
It's for you.
Wow. The Real Bros Chug Bud?
Yeah.
This is huge.
Yeah, huge.
I love this.
Groundbreaking stuff.
Oh my God. I love this packaging too.
It's good, right? Man, we're fucking killing it.
Wow, dude.
Doing well.
Look at that. You gotta love that. You just gotta.
What is it, Xander or Zonder?
Zonder. I mean, it depends who you're talking to.
Huh? Depends what region you're in.
Yeah, it depends which region.
I'll go with Zon.
Zon.
But dude,
wow. I love
to
that.
this day, I have a very clear image of Jimmy Tatro that lives on with me forever and ever and ever. It is, what'd you say? Oh, we have it up here?
No.
What, the laptop?
Oh, no.
Take a look at it. Take a fucking look at it. Where is she? Right here?
Oh, man. Oh, no.
Look at these assholes. Joe grabs my dick on the way out. All right, there he is. Oh, going down like water. Yeah. Here's the progression. And the beautiful part is this no longer exists on the internet, so that's a good thing.
That's great news.
I mean, if this isn't what life is all about, I don't even want to know what it is about then.
Oh boy. Look at how young you were. That's post beard. We'll cut that out.
Yeah, we'll cut it out.
That's gotta go.
We'll cut it out. We'll cut it out. Yeah, this right here was the image I was talking about.
Yeah.
The half eye, one eye open, one eye closed, being force-fed a Corona from a stranger, being force-fed Corona from a stranger on Bourbon Street. And dude, for me, like this is what solidified a lifelong bond. Because we never, like, this is our first engagement as human beings. Like, this is the first go at it. Someone going this freely means a lot to me.
Yeah. I really let loose.
Yeah, is there an ending of this? Let's watch it to the end. Blue. Blue's still the same. I think that's it.
That was one of the, at the time, I
Fuck,
think
that's
that
good.
was the drunkest I had ever been. And
I wear that as a badge
you
of
just
honor.
gotta say, good thing it was on camera.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course.
Not everyone has their drunkest experience on camera, you know? It's
You're
great.
looking at a group of guys who has. When you watch that, you're like, oh fuck, or you like, wow, that was amazing. A little bit of both.
I'd say airing more on the off fuck side. Early on, it was it was fine, the dancing, and then
Dude, it's fucking 7 years ago.
yeah, and then I
You're
was
21 in New
literally-
Orleans by yourself, like filming a goddamn movie, 22 Jump Street with fucking rock stars. Like that's how you're supposed to do it. Don't even have one grimace towards that.
Okay. All right.
And we'll cut. Well, I'll send it to you, and we can edit it out if you don't love it. But yeah, but that image is something vividly. I just remember in the edit, I was like, that guy, what a guy. And then we went like Bourbon Street is Bourbon Street too. If there's one place to do it, it's
Yeah.
that. I mean, I've gone back there and had very, very similar. We've replicated that night just with a new crowd.
You know what's funny is I was in New Orleans for 2 months, staying in a hotel room for 2 months. And, that was the wildest night I had for sure. There were some other nights that, I was there for 2 months.
Yeah,
So when I left, I was like, I don't think I ever need to go back
for real though.
to Bourbon Street.
That's how you feel when you leave.
And then my buddy had his bachelor party there like 2 years ago. And it was still too early. I was still like,
Scarred.
I still don't feel like I need to go back, but it's my friend's bachelor party. I go out. And then once I left that time, I was like, it's going to be another 10 years.
It's over.
Yeah.
Maybe forever.
Yeah, maybe forever.
Yeah, it's a dark place, but an awesome place.
Yeah.
There's a slight undertone of darkness and energy. Like you might party till failure and like have some things go on that you really regret.
Mhm.
But there's also a little twinkle in the air, a little magic.
You know what's funny? When I went there for the bachelor party, some guy rented a house,
Yeah.
like, his best man rented a house.
Right.
And 20 dudes, I think this is maybe 3 years ago. And I'm like, I'm not at a point in my life where I want to be in a house with 15, I think it was like 18 guys,
A lot.
like, let's talk about the towel situation.
Yeah. It's a lot of cock and balls
Okay.
just running around the house.
Let's talk about how are we drying our hands, little things like that.
Yeah. Just the
That
simple
people
stuff.
don't take into account when they book these kinds of things.
Mhm.
And it was funny, like everyone's like, yeah, the house is sick. I'm like silent in this group chat, just like, fuck, God damn it. and everyone that showed up to the house, first thing they said is, oh, damn, you guys are in a bad area.
You were in the
I shouldn't
trap.
even say this, but the
this is
drug dealer showed up and goes, damn, you guys are in a sketch area. The strippers showed up. They go, you guys are in a pretty bad area. And we're like,
Sheesh.
okay, guys, let's.
So you're in a dope house in a bad area. Pretty bad recipe.
It wasn't dope. It was big.
Big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Huge discrepancy there. Oh man. I want to say we ended at a strip club, you sleeping. Remember, you woke up in my buddy's room too, or something, right? Like we just crashed with us, I believe. I was off with some,
Yeah, I woke up.
I
just
remember some
so
kind of debacle.
confused.
Yeah, you had
so
no idea.
confused. And I woke up, next to one of your buddies.
Yep.
Like,
Romantic.
yeah, face down, fully clothed, shoes on.
Mhm.
And woke up and I was like, where's my phone? And I logged into someone's phone and did find my phone. And it showed up in Baton Rouge, 72 miles away.
I remember this.
And I was like, what the absolute fuck? were we in Baton Rouge? And you guys are like, no. We
Literally
weren't in
like The
Baton
Hangover.
Rouge.
Like,
I'm like, so we didn't go to Baton Rouge. So I get in my car, print out MapQuest directions because my phone is there. I like contact the person who has my phone. Left it in a cab, and some girl was like, "Yeah, it was in a cab, so I just like brought it home." I'm like, "Thanks." So
I guess.
I drive at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Definitely, probably not a good idea to drive that early.
You were definitely still intoxicated. That's either here nor there. Allegedly.
And I show up in this gated community in Baton Rouge.
Nice.
At this girl's parents' house, and I like knock on the door, and she answers. She's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Do you have my phone?" And she's like, "Yeah, hold on." Gets my phone, gave it back, thank you, and
She's like, by the way, thank you for last night. Thank you so much for last night. Oh man, and that was I wanted to bring it up because those are the types of things. There's an evolution we talk about. Let's get to this point because then we can kind of end going down this mountain of adulthood at the top, and not even at the top. The adulthood's on the other side of the mountaintop.
Yeah, but maybe it's not.
Maybe
down.
It's not so. Yeah,
I think maybe it's another range.
I think so too.
I think
we've been talking a lot about mountains today.
Yeah, I mean, life is like mountains.
It is.
It's a lot like mountains.
It is. I had a fucking song called Closer. The video was literally the concept of Closer is like when you run, you get to the top of a mountain, you look at the view for a second. The end of the video is me looking back and realizing there's a whole other mountain to climb. So literally exactly
Once
that.
you get to the top of the mountain, you can see the other mountains, and you realize you're not even on the highest mountain.
Philosophy by Jimmy Tatro. But now, I mean, look, I look back at those times. That's an amazing time. There's a lot of my times have been in partying and that element. Like these are the memories. That's why I still to this day I allocate time to party. Are you partying still? Or are you just kind of kicking it?
I mean, I'm just kind of kicking it. I mean, I'm like, I'm
It's also
still
coronavirus. Like we're not like there's not.
Yeah, I mean, but
major
even
gatherings.
before that, I was like kind of out on like.
Yeah.
I just wasn't enjoying parties as much. I like, like partying with like a small group of friends and like,
I'm getting there, man. I'm
more
older
of
than
a-
you, but I'm getting there now. Just like
Yeah, I just don't like being around, and I've never really liked being around like a bunch of people I don't know. But more so now, I'm like, I just want to be with my friends,
right.
And like, if the night escalates and we're, it escalates within us, and
Yeah.
we're just dancing.
You have less ego out of the gate than I do as a man. Like I think you're from California now. I'm starting to make sense. I think a lot of people that grow up here have an earlier process of learning about like perspective. Personally, I grew up in New England,
Right?
Right? Like I'm gonna try to fuck the hottest girl in the high school. I'm gonna try to be the best athlete. These are the cool things. Like if you say something, I'm gonna fight you. Like these types of things where it's like it's fucking foolish to look back at now.
Yeah.
But even when I started getting attention, I wasn't sick of it an hour in.
Right.
I'm getting sick. I got sick of it like 5 years in, where I was just like, wait.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it actually started guiding my decisions in a good way. Like, that's why I've stayed independent. Because I like walking down the middle of the beach, man.
Yeah.
I like walking right down the middle of the beach. And I've been, you could call it lucky or just wherever I've landed, I've been behind the curtain of like A-list famous people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough gig. It's a fucking tough gig, man. And you've been around it, obviously, more in controlled settings, probably like on set and stuff, been around A-list guys. Do you want to be, you're doing something that makes you a public figure, makes you publicly recognized, right?
Yeah.
But you're at the same time, right out of the gate, you realize you don't want to be publicly recognized. Or you don't enjoy that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I will say is people are more respectful now. At the time, it was the way people were coming up to me was disrespectful and a complete breach of my personal space. Now that I've kind of been doing this for longer, there's more of a respect factor where they don't feel like, you see some meme guy and you're not assuming like people come up to him and he has to deal with this a lot. You're just like, holy fuck, dude. you know, but like you wouldn't go up to
Mm-hmm.
like a super famous person and like be a dick.
Right.
And I'm not saying I'm a super famous person.
Right.
I'm just saying like people have gotten more respectful. With that being said, I don't want to be it's not a goal of mine to like
Right.
leave my house and like have to worry about paparazzi and
Right.
stuff. Like that doesn't sound cool. I like being able to do stuff
Right.
and, you know, do normal stuff. And I think no matter how famous you are, I think there's a way to conduct yourself that kind of doesn't embrace that.
It dictates how people treat you in a way you feel.
Yeah, like I think like no matter how famous you are, like you can still lay low.
Right.
You know, like you can just
That's a good point.
go do normal stuff and just not make a big fucking
That's a
deal
good
out
point.
of it. You know, like if you're walking around with security guards and shit and like,
Yeah. Those are the guys that want the attention.
right.
Oh, I mean, that's not necessarily true. But yes. Also, a factor that living in LA, this is the place where you'd be less bothered by
Here
people.
in New York, yeah, people don't really give a shit.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, there's just so many celebrities around, and
Well, let me
kind of
rephrase that. In New York, they don't give a shit. In LA, they act like they don't give a shit.
But put yourself back on the campus of University of Arizona, or in PCB spring break. The real Bros fans are probably gonna run up to you and be like, "Yeah," you know what I mean? Like it probably would be that, right? Like you just don't frequent those places anymore.
That's true. Like
So
I'm not at Mango Deck in Cabo anymore. And
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. And I'm not at Squid Row. I guess I'm no longer going to I'm also no longer going to like hot spots.
Yeah, yeah.
So
this is part of the adult mountain we're climbing, you know?
yeah.
You know,
I mean, I think I just want to keep going to get to a place where I can just, you know, make the things I want to make with the people I want to make.
enjoy yourself.
Be able to make them the way I want to make them. That's, you know, that's all I want to do. I think anything else that comes with that is just, you know, something you got to kind of deal with or work with as it comes, but it's never a goal.
Yeah.
The what happens from all that stuff isn't the goal. It's the
result.
It's the stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which I feel like, not to just keep rambling,
this
is just like what annoys me about a lot of the internet culture right now is that there's just like this whole world of people that want so desperately to be famous, but they don't even know what they want to be famous for. They just want to be famous.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got all these kids following these people whose goal is to be famous. It used to be when you're, you know, if you have like a following or you have a platform to say things, you had to do something to get to that point.
Yeah.
Now it's like you could just be friends with someone who's super famous. You could just be like, you know, friends with a Kardashian or like someone that's like has a following. And then next thing you know, you got all these kids listening to people who are hot.
You're spot on. You're spot on. You've always been kind of, and I've admired it, and I mirror it. I mirror it in a lot of ways. It's fucking part of why I'm leaving. You know, it's an interesting time to be around this shit, and like I've seen a lot of it up close and personal. I think even more personal than you because you've distanced yourself from it. But you made a cool point about it's about the process.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, and that's where all the importance lies for you, and the end result is what it is.
I was actually just talking to someone about this. And I think it's interesting because like all the moments in my career where I felt like they should be a high point, whether it's a premiere or like going on Jimmy Kimmel or like all those moments, you know, getting home from like the Critics' Choice Awards where I got nominated, like all those moments that you have an expectation of feeling like I've reached the next level are always disappointing in the moment. You never feel like fulfilled in those moments because there's an expectation. It's like partying on New Year's. Like it's never going to be that good because it's supposed to be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
The best moments in what I do and what you do come from when you're working on something and you finally put the finishing touches. Or maybe it's just a moment that you like perfect in the edit or in the song where all of a sudden it flows and you're just like, yes. And it's that serotonin rush where you're like, this is why I love doing this. It's because of what you're making, not because of the recognition.
And
So people always are like, how do you feel? Like, you just had this premiere. Like, don't you feel amazing? And you're like,
I love this.
no, I feel depressed.
I actually
honestly.
feel sad. Just feel a little sad and empty inside.
Sad right now. Like, after I went on Kimmel, my mom was like, you did Kimmel? And I was like, Mom, I'm so mad right now.
Yeah.
She's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. It's just like, this is,
I've talked
just
about
do it. You get back in the car, you go home. Like,
yeah, really well put. I've talked about this a ton in less articulate ways, probably, or in less simple way of saying that. But it really is that, man. It really is that. There's a little bit of a rattling perspective to it when you get to a place that even if it wasn't your end goal or wasn't even your drive, when you get to these like landmark benchmark places like a Kimmel or a premiere or something that you made out of your fucking head, out of thin air, and it turns into, and then there's that expectation you talk about. But when you experience that, you said sadness, or dude, that's like something I really went through. Like the realization that the shallowness of some of the things that I was like striving for, even though it was never my main thing. Like fame has never been my main thing ever, or the attention. But when you experience that, it unlocks a whole other level of wisdom. It does. Because until you do, Jim Carrey said, I hope everyone gets rich and famous so they realize that's not about being rich and famous. And until you get there genuinely, where you cross that bucket list of, hey, I'm now financially stable, I'm now, whatever it may be, you have that like kind of not the ultimate success, but in that realm, and you realize it's fucking rattling, man. Because you realize that like, wait, what are my value? What are,
You realize it's just a perception thing, and it has nothing to do with how you feel. You don't feel fulfilled. Maybe people see you differently. Maybe the way people think of you is differently now that you've been in this situation. But you as a person don't feel any more fulfilled in those moments. At least for me, and at least it seems for you, which is why so many of these people that you think are so successful,
unhappy.
Some seem so sad. And you're like, why are they sad? Like, they're killing it. But it's like, you think they're killing it. Everyone thinks they're killing it. The whole world thinks you're great. That doesn't affect how you actually feel at all.
If anything, it actually can be disenfranchised a little bit, It's a fucking wild thing. That's why I love having these conversations, man. And every time I sit down with somebody, I mean, we haven't seen each other in a few years. Have you rebounded from the ass kicking I gave you on the ping pong table, or no? You still climbing out of that hole?
Oh man, I should have known this would come up.
That's the whole reason I called you over here, just to talk shit about.
I mean, I'm down to get a game in. I haven't played it in a minute. I have been playing some tennis though, so maybe that, just to piggyback off the adult thing. I've been playing tennis lately. I've been getting a lot older and a lot whiter.
Yeah. Hey, whatever.
No, but I'm down to play. Are you still doing an illegal serve, or do you like?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he's still doing that.
My success is built upon that foundation.
It's built on the illegal serve.
It rests on the foundation of illegal serve. I'm dead. But man, there's so much more we could talk about, but I know you're a busy guy, and I really fucking appreciate you coming. Getting this guy over here has been tough. He's a fucking busy guy. He's a globetrotter. He's also...
Well, I've just been out of town,
Yeah.
And I'm about to start a quarantine for this show.
Yeah. What's next? What's next? What's right on the docket?
It's this ABC pilot that I'm doing. I'm not sure how much of it I'm supposed to say.
Yeah, you don't need to.
But it's just a pilot I'm doing. It'll be fun.
For the Steves, this guy's one of us. He's been on stage chugging beers as often as he possibly could be. Whenever he was available, he'd come in. I mean, it's been 2 or 3 shows, I think. He once. I remember this one other image of New Orleans. Kilmer's like, "Yo, what's up, man?" And normal Kilmer touring Born Fashion. You said something that like kind of stuck with me forever. It's weird. You're probably gonna be like scared of me after this. Like, this guy loves me. This guy's been thinking about me a lot. jeez, dude, relax. You said something, you go, yeah, dude, everyone just fucking peaks at a fucking Mike Stud show, bro. And you're like, man, we're back to mountains. What the fuck? And you said this shit, and I was like, he's fucking right. In a non-cocky way, I'm like, yeah, no, this is what this is about.
They're there to peak. Everyone's peaking.
This is what this is about, though.
It's a collective peak.
Yeah, it's a collective peak.
Yeah.
And when you got everyone peaking in one room, that energy you leave with and take from it, honestly, no, all bullshit aside, like we've partied our ass off on tour, and I will going forward, probably forever. But I've found like peace and solace in the fact that like we genuinely like we're there like trying to have the best fucking genuine time we could everywhere we went. Didn't matter who was there. What I mean, the first show, New Orleans, it was like a House of Blues side room, wasn't it? Like 500 people, just a bunch of kids jammed in there, sweaty.
Yeah.
I want to say we ran up because didn't our bus break down? I think so. We like ran up. We were late. You pulled up right at the same time. But yeah, like when you said that, and I remember in the episode, I was like, he's fucking right. You know, and it like actually helped dictate. Yeah, it just put it in perspective. Like that's what it is. It's part of what we're doing. You know what I mean? It's part of like it's an experience. It's a concert, but it's more. You know what I mean? So, appreciate your support and your overall just passion for the culture. Because that guy right there with the one eye open, one eye closed, drinking a Corona, that's my kind of guy. And we can grow past it. We can grow up. It's my kind of guy. Cut from the same cloth, me and that guy. I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much.
Appreciate you, man.
You're a rock star, sir.